Hello there everybody, Jordan back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 2026 film We Bury the Dead, and this is directed by Zach Hilditch and stars Daisy Ridley. When a military disaster occurs, thousands of people are killed. However, the dead have risen again, but seem harmless, all whilst a woman offers to help with the cleanup operation in order to find her missing husband. Well guys, going by the trailer, I thought this looked awesome, to be honest. It looked like a more grounded version of a zombie movie, not being too cheesy or over the top, kind of like Zombieland, which I love, by the way. But I just thought, I kind of need this right now. I know we've got lots of zombie movies that come out all the time, but this one just looked more up my street for the more serious approach it seemed to be taken. And whilst I will take all that from the trailer, I do think this movie was a little bit mismarketed. It wasn't much of a zombie movie at all. So let's get into it. Now guys, I will say this was an interesting take on the subgenre. This military bomb goes off on this island accidentally, and some of the people who were wiped out have come back as zombies. They look like zombies, but they're not actually doing anything. Most of them are just staring into space, or more like staring into the abyss. They kind of don't know where they are. And some of them are doing other different things, like moving around, trying to connect with other dead ones, but to no avail, if you like. But no one's really attacking or being attacked by these zombies. So I thought that was an interesting take on playing by your own rules. Don't really see too many zombie movies flip it on its head a little bit there. But it didn't really make for an interesting movie all that much for the first act, if you like. However, these zombies do... well, some of them start to become a little bit more sinister as the movie goes on. And that's when it got a little bit more interesting and a little bit more amped up. But I do like that approach where, you're going in fully expecting something and it sort of pulls the rug from under your feet there. Just wish they executed it a little bit better than that. I am not against original type movies or trying to do something different, but you got to get it right. However, I will say the zombies in this film looked great. There was some awesome makeup design and everything. And they really did have a creepy feel to them, especially the ones that aren't actually doing anything. The ones that kind of look lost and are just staring ahead because you're waiting for them to kind of attack there. And I felt tension rising as some characters were just looking them up and down, sort of surveying what they're doing and everything. It was just a weird few scenes there. That kind of worked, I think. But I do think there was some really cool, horrific moments as well, where these zombies are kind of like chattering with their teeth and everything. There's a couple of decent zombie attacks later on in the movie and everything. But overall, I have no problem with the design of these zombies whatsoever. And the movie has beautiful cinematography. The whole island looks awesome. It does look like a disaster as a kid there, where just parked cars are lining the main roads and everything. And it just feels so empty. And we got these characters in the cleanup operation. So they're going around the town and everything. And you can just see that this place has been definitely hit by something. So I think they got the whole location and the feel of a zombie outbreak or, a quarantine zone down to a T there. Really good props to the visuals. Now, Daisy Ridley was fine in this movie. I do think this actress was going to go on to way better things after Star Wars, whether you like their movies or not. She was kind of the star of the biggest movie franchise ever, wasn't she? And she's gone on to do a few duds. Some good movies, mind you, but most of them you don't really remember or hear of all too much. And she's just kind of petered out a little bit there. I do think she has a lot of acting talent. Unfortunately, it's not showcased too much here. She's fine in the movie. She does a job. But she's not really that all interesting of a character. Maybe it was ways she was just written. She is there as basically a vessel for us to see what's going on, basically. But she is looking for her missing husband. And she does get the worry and, the agitation on her face. And all the mannerisms down quite well. She does look like a woman who's kind of in peril and lost and grieving. Another movie that does a lot of grieving. Yes, we had lots of them in 2025. Another one here. But she done a job. However, Brendan Thwaites was definitely the star of this movie who kind of stole the show for me. He was a more fun character who lit up every scene. And when he was on screen with Daisy Ridley, I think that's when she worked best. But even just seeing this guy just have fun, he larger than life personality, he definitely lit up a bit of a tame movie, put it that way. Now, for the negatives, guys, this film I'm kind of unsure what it's trying to say, but I suppose it's a way of showing how characters deal with loss, what lengths they will go to find their missing loved ones, whether they are alive or not. You know, they will believe if they are alive, they'll go and find them, and nothing will ever stop them giving up. And it's also about grief, like I mentioned, like, you know, how people are dealing with loss with this big disaster and everything, and, you know, how to sort of try and evolve into the situation that has happened here, this horrific disaster. Well, I've seen so much of that. It's not the movie's fault, I've got to admit. I mean, it's just in a packed subgenre at the minute. But these movies just aren't really for me, where, you know, characters are depressed and just has this dull sort of narrative surrounding it. So unfortunately, what this movie was trying to do just weren't really for me. I mean, the zombie stuff is more of the background noise, where it has characters going around trying to find other characters that are missing and, you know, trying to deal with the situation. So that for me is not really a fun movie. Now, as much as I like the whole different direction that this movie went in with the zombies, I'm doing this because they're not your typical zombie type characters, but it just goes down too many strange avenues. Okay, we have the ones that are kind of lost and the other ones that are attacking, but there's other things that these things are doing that just felt very off to me and off-putting. I don't want to get into spoilers, so I'm going to dance around this, but there is a moment where this zombie is dealing with the death of its family, and it does a certain thing to try and sort of help itself get over that. And it just felt so off to me. Like, I was seeing this zombie do this certain thing, and I was like, yeah, this has gone way too far now. I get that it's in the mixed messaging of the movie with the whole dealing with loss and grief and everything, but yeah, I was just watching it going, scratching my head going, is this what we've come to now with the zombie genre? Now, even though there are a couple of good zombie attacks in here, like I mentioned, a lot of it just feels underwhelming and happens for a few seconds. So if you're going into this movie looking for lots of zombie attack type scenarios, I think you've already guessed by now, going by this review, that you're probably going to be a lot disappointed with that. And I will say that's the trailer's fault for mismarketing this movie to a lot of people the way they did. But the worst thing I can say about this movie, guys, is that it's just kind of boring, unfortunately. It's just a little bit dull here and there, just Daisy Ridley walking around, going into buildings, seeing what's happening, because she's part of this cleanup operation, talking to other characters who are part of the cleanup operation, walking down roads and everything. And it just becomes a little bit tiresome at times. Like I said, there's not too much zombie action here. There's a bit in the middle of the film where we see that humans are worse than the monsters. Yes, that tired old zombie subgenre trope. It's in every single zombie movie, we know. And when the outcomes happen and the minimal twists and turns, just leaves a lot to be desired. So, unfortunately, this was a very disappointing film for me. I'm just going to go ahead and make this movie now, guys. I'm going to give We Bury the Dead a 4 out of 10. Now, there's a lot of people over on Letterboxd there giving this high reviews, so don't listen to me. If this sounds interesting to you, give it a go. This is just my opinion, and it didn't work for me whatsoever. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. What did you think of We Bury the Dead? Have you seen it, and are you planning to watch this film? Please do let me know in the comments down below. If you want more 2026 horror movie reviews, we've got 28 Days The Bone Temple in there. You know, just reviewed that last, which probably didn't help with this movie after seeing that, then going into this, because that was so awesome. But it's there if you want to see it. So thanks so much, guys. Give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if horror is your sort of thing. Thanks so much. You all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.